After a lengthy absence, they have returned, not for a mere house party, but for an intense gathering that promises to push everyone to their limits. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation as rumors of a legendary celebration spread, mixing excitement with unease. Occasionally, amid the endless churn of uninspired reboots and corporate-driven films, a truly original work emerges, one marked by craftsmanship, style, and a distinct artistic vision. Sinners is one such film, a period thriller set over a singular, tumultuous day and night in October 1932. It centers on the smokestack twins, both portrayed by Michael B. Jordan, who come back to their roots in the Mississippi Delta, with the dream of transforming a dilapidated sawmill into a vibrant juke joint, a beacon of music and community. The film's first act unfolds with a simmering tension, capturing the twins' determined efforts to assemble a team and prepare the venue for a night destined to be unforgettable. Director Ryan Coogler draws deeply from personal heritage, notably his late Uncle James's profound passion for the blues, and from the evocative old blues tune, Wang Dang Doodle, which celebrates a wild party filled with colorful, sometimes dubious characters. This inspiration shapes a narrative about flawed individuals uniting, only to confront an unexpected menace, Remick, a vampire irresistibly drawn to their music. As the night advances, the joyous gathering descends into chaos. Partygoers succumb one by one to Remick's dark influence, forcing the survivors into a desperate fight for their lives, armed with stakes, garlic, and fragments of folk magic and hoodoo rituals. Sinners thrives on richly developed characters steeped in moral ambiguity. The story is a nuanced exploration of guilt, redemption, and the decay lurking beneath outward piety, all conveyed through a gripping script, powerful performances, and evocative direction. The film opens with an ominous narration warning that certain music possesses the power to summon spirits across time, but that such power also risks inviting evil. This sets the spiritual tone as we meet Sammy Moore, wounded and clutching a broken guitar, the last remnant of his soul, as he arrives at his father's church. Pastor Jebediah implores Sammy to abandon his sinful path, but Sammy remains silent, embodying the tension between sacred duty and personal desire. A flashback reveals the twins, Elijah and Elias Moore, or Smoke and Stack, returning from Chicago's criminal underworld, having stolen from gangsters likely tied to Al Capone. They invest in a rundown sawmill owned by Hogwood, a conniving man connected to the KKK, intending to create a safe haven for black culture through the blues. Their biblical names are no accident. Elijah, a prophet known for his spiritual warfare against evil, and Elias, its Greek counterpart, symbolize two halves of a unified spiritual entity. The twins' nickname, the Smokestack Twins, reflects their fraternal bond, wartime past, and time in Chicago's underworld. Central to the narrative is Sammy's spiritual journey, caught between his father's strict Christianity and the seductive freedom of the blues. The film frames his story with Corinthians 10:13, emphasizing that temptation is universal and always accompanied by a path to endurance, yet human frailty often leads to failure. Pastor Jebediah's warnings about the blues' dangerous power gain depth when it's revealed that the guitar Sammy wields belonged to the twins' father, a sinful man whom Smoke was forced to kill to protect his brother. Despite the warnings, Sammy pursues his passion, paralleling the prodigal son's journey of straying and seeking redemption. As preparations unfold, the twins recruit old allies, Grace, Bocho, Cornbread, and Delta Slim, to help run the juke joint. The arrival of Mary, a childhood friend harboring resentment over past wounds, and Pine, a married woman who entices Sammy, hint at complex interpersonal dynamics set to unravel. Smoke's painful reunion with his estranged wife Annie, a hoodoo priestess, reveals a shared history marked by loss and spiritual protection, adding layers of mystical depth. Meanwhile, a mysterious, burned Irishman named Remick seeks refuge with a racist couple, soon revealing himself as a vampire, turning them into predators that threaten the entire community. The grand opening is electrifying, the music uniting the crowd and summoning spirits in a transcendent sequence where past and future blur, symbolized by a metaphysical blaze of freedom through sound. Yet, Beneath the surface, temptation festers. Sammy and Stack both succumb to infidelities, and the club degenerates into chaos. The arrival of vampires introduces a supernatural dimension intertwined with 6 spiritual traditions: Hoodoo, Choctaw beliefs, Christianity, vampirism's dark metaphysics, the KKK's twisted cultism, and the blues itself as a spiritual bridge. Music here is sacred but perilous, capable of calling forth ancestors and demons alike. The characters wrestle with internal battles reflecting Romans 7:19's depiction of the struggle between good intentions and sinful actions. Smoke, burdened by violence and guilt, sees himself as beyond redemption. Stack is a charming manipulator torn by conscience. Sammy is the most conflicted, torn between temptation and purpose. When the vampires Remick, Burton, and Chone arrive disguised as musicians, suspicion and danger escalate. Mary's transformation and betrayal mark a turning point, plunging the community into darkness and forcing a violent, tragic stand using stakes, guns, and magic. The climactic battle is a crucible of spiritual and physical endurance, with sacrifices underscoring the high cost of survival. Annie's death prompts a moment of regained humanity for Mary and Stack, before a brutal confrontation leaves Sammy resisting transformation through a symbolic baptism in the club's waters, invoking the Lord's Prayer to affirm his faith. In a powerful finale, he kills Remick with his uncle's guitar, while Smoke dispatches the vampire as dawn breaks, symbolizing hope amid devastation. Smoke's solitary preparation for an imminent KKK assault is laden with symbolism. Dog tags and a mojo bag represent identity, brotherhood, and spiritual protection, while the act of hanging Stack's necklace beneath his gun signifies carrying his brother's memory into battle. His ruthless defense against the lynch mob culminates in a bittersweet vision of reunion with Annie in the afterlife, offering the peace denied in life. Meanwhile, Sammy returns to his father's church, mirroring the prodigal son's narrative of grace and forgiveness, yet chooses a self-defined path beyond full surrender, embodying the film's thematic ambiguity about redemption. Decades later, an elderly Sammy, portrayed by Buddy Guy, reflects on a life shaped by music, survival, and loss. His encounter with the ageless Stack and Mary reveals promises kept and choices made. Sammy declines immortality, embracing the finite yet meaningful life he's lived. The film's conclusion leaves viewers contemplating the intertwined legacies of faith, family, and freedom, with the blues as a spiritual force both liberating and fraught with sacrifice. The final scene, a tender image of young Sammy singing, "This Little Light of Mine" in his father's church, poignantly encapsulates the film's exploration of innocence lost and gained. Ryan Coogler's Sinners masterfully blends Southern Gothic horror with history, music, and emotional depth. His direction balances tension and restraint, favoring mood and spiritual dread over cheap scares or gore. The cinematography bathes the setting in atmospheric heat and shadow, while the juke joint pulses with life and spirit. The film's soundtrack serves as a vital character, with composer Ludwig Göransson fusing traditional blues and mystical undertones that echo the narrative's cosmic themes. Sound design enhances the immersive experience, employing subtle cues rather than overt effects, making the supernatural feel intimate and unsettling. The screenplay stands out for its refusal to simplify morality or provide neat answers, presenting characters rich with flaws and complexity, inviting audiences to grapple with their choices. Dialogue is natural, sharp, and often poetic, avoiding cliches or pandering. The cast delivers nuanced performances, with Miles Catton's Sammy embodying youthful talent and spiritual conflict, and Michael B. Jordan's dual portrayal of Smoke and Stack showcasing contrasting facets of love, guilt, and survival. Wima Saku's Annie brings mystical gravitas, Haley Steinfeld's Mary portrays tragic transformation, and Jack O'Connell's Remick offers a villain who is both seductive and sorrowful, embodying the seductive danger of false salvation. Supporting characters like Grace, B, Cornbread, and Delta Slim enrich the tapestry, each vividly drawn and integral. Sinners exemplifies what happens when a filmmaker reveres their craft, creating a work that is intelligent without arrogance, stylish without superficiality, and emotionally potent without manipulation. It redefines the vampire genre by using monsters as spiritual metaphors rather than mere horror tropes, delivering a bold, brutal journey through time, faith, and the human soul.